podcast. I'm Lorelei Erdo. I am a jewelry designer who knits in her free time, and this is a predominantly knitting and crafting podcast. This is episode 25. Today is August, possibly 28th or 29th, I can't remember. And I'm just gonna get right into the nitty-gritty. So there's a couple of knitting Knitalongs happening that I am participating in. I just wanted to pass along that info to you in case you want to participate also. I am entering a pattern or project, or possibly more, into the Hey Sister hat knit-along. That's hashtag Hey Sister Hat Cal. And I have one hat made already, and I actually was in their Ravelry group this morning to see when the end date was, but it didn't say in the in their first initial knit-along thread. So I guess I gotta go back and look at their previous episodes and see if I can figure out when that ends to see if I have time to do another hat. Although the hat that I did do, I did in one day, did it on Sunday. But I pretty much knit all day. So basically it's just a hat knit along. If you are working on a hat, you can go ahead and enter into their knit along thread, and there are prizes to win. So fingers crossed. The other one I am participating in is the Stress Knits podcast. She's having a knit along called Just Knit It. So basically the idea is if there is anything that you have been wanting to knit, that you maybe were intimidated by, or something that's been languishing for a while in your project bin, whatever the case may be, the idea is to just knit it. So I have actually my first finished project that I'm going to show you is going into that knit along thread. I don't know if there's a hashtag for that knit along, but you can find all the information at Stacy Elstone's Ravelry group in the thread for the Just Knit It Cal. I believe she just has one thread open for chatter and finished objects. So if you are wanting to contribute to that, that's also happening right now. Again, I went to the Ravelry group to find out when the end date was for that knit along, and it doesn't say in her initial thread. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and show you my finished objects. So for the Just Knit It podcast knit along, the Just Knit It knit along, I've had the Campside Shawl by Alicia Plummer in my favorites on Ravelry for a really long time. Like, it's probably one of the very first projects I put into my favorites. And another bonus is that it's a free pattern. So I ended up printing it out long ago, and I took it off the printer and could not believe the amount of pages of charts. It was very intimidating, and I was a fairly new knitter, so I really didn't know how the whole chart thing worked. I had worked from charts before because I've done a couple of shawls that had a lace pattern that included charts, but I had no idea why this particular pattern had pages and pages of charts. So I actually put it in my knitting binder where I keep all of my patterns, and I just forgot about it. And I thought, I don't know if I'll ever do that pattern. But this knit along happening kind of gave me a little bit of a boost, a kick in the butt to go ahead and try it. So I dug it out. And once I started looking through it, it totally made sense. Like, had I just read the written instructions in the beginning of the pattern, I would have realized that each section was kind of a new chart, but typically the patterning throughout the shawl is all the same. So it's really just a series of knit two togethers and yarn overs to create this kind of eyelet pattern. And so anyway, I used I used Knitpicks Swish DK. I had bought this yarn last winter, and I bought 10 balls of this, and I believe the balls are about 123 yards a ball, so that's 50 grams. And I bought it with intentions of doing some kind of bigger project, whether it be a sweater or whatever the case may be. 1,000 yards for me is not enough for a sweater. Quickly learned that. And I have tried using the yarn for a couple of other projects, and I just didn't like how it knit up, so I kind of forgot about it. And it was actually DK weight, so when I dug out my Campside shawl, I thought, well, it'd be nice to have a gray shawl, something that will go with everything, and it was the right gauge, and so I did it. I used my ChowGoo size 7 needles, which are my red lace metal needles. Loved them. And here it is. So I don't know if you can get an idea of how big it is, but it's really, really nice and big, which is my kind of shawl. It's probably about, no, it's almost just my wingspan. It's all one color. It's got this beautiful eyelet pattern. I love that really nice center line on it, and then the edging has some ribbing, which I don't love knitting, to be honest with you, but I really like the look of it in the shawl. So let's throw this on so you can see. It is really nice. I mean, this is going to be great to take in the car on trips, because Joe loves to have the air conditioning on, blasted, or even in the winter when we're on a long trip, he runs a little bit hotter than I do. I run very cold, so it'll be nice to have just for the car, or even working in my studio. I love the color. And it is so soft. Like, that is one thing I have to say about the Swish DK. I mean, literally, it had to have been under $4 a ball when I bought it, because it was on sale. Yeah, I would knit with this again in a heartbeat. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. I'm thinking I'm going to buy some more for a sweater. So, when I blocked this, actually, I ended up blocking it on I put my blocking mats on top of my bed, because I have a fan in my room and it's kind of blowing that way, and I didn't want it to take forever to dry, so I kind of positioned it on the bed so that it would get that fan for the day or whatever. And so my blocking mats were kind of laid out, and all I did was lay this flat. I didn't even pin it. And so that gives you an idea of how big this would be. If I had aggressively blocked it, oh my god, it would be even bigger. But super happy. If you are ever thinking about making the Campside shawl, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. And there is also someone who she threw up like a project available. It's a free, I think it's just a document of some sort on Ravelry, which is actually the written instructions in full for this, if you didn't want to deal with the charts at all. But I have to say that the charts weren't really very intimidating once you get the idea of how. So it's like basically the shawl is done in sections, this top part being the first section, And then this is the second section, and then the holes get closer, and this is the third section, and then there's a fourth section, and then the ribbing. So I mean, it's really not that bad once you get the gist of it. But just know that that's out there in case you don't want to deal with the charts. It's all written out really nicely, and it's free. And all you have to do is kind of open the document and print it or whatever, or put it on your tablet or your Kindle or whatever. So that is my big finished object. I really loved knitting on this. In fact, it took me 2 weeks to make this, and I mean, I pretty much only knit on this. So pretty monogamous knitting right here. I just love it. I just love it. My other finished object is this hat. Now this is the Tamarack Beanie by Kalurah Hudson, and this is basically my very first cable pattern project. I use Malabrigo yarn twist, which is an Aran weight. This pattern calls for an Aran weight yarn. I believe this is a free pattern on Ravelry, and the colorway is Manzilla Olive. I've had this yarn for quite a while. I was on a big hat kick last winter, and I knit a bunch of these kind of slouchy ear flap hats, and I'm going to make more of them because I gave my last one that I had for myself away to Joe's cousin when she was over, so I definitely need to knit myself another one. And this was actually just one skein that I had initially thought I would make that particular hat with. So I had this on hand, and yeah, I really wanted to try out cables. So the ribbing went by fairly quickly. This actually was done with a oh shoot, what's it called? Not a cable cast on. A tubular cast on. This was my first try at doing a tubular cast on. It went really well. Very, very nice. I loved doing it. I would absolutely do it again. It's a 1x1 rib, and then you go right into the pattern. The pattern I think is what's nice about it is it was written. There was a written instruction, and then also a charted instruction, so I was able to kind of switch back and forth from those two. And so I was going along. In the very beginning of the cable, I made kind of a major mistake. So you can see the cable there, and you can see that purl ridge that ain't supposed to be there. So I thought, oh well, I'm just gonna keep going, because that's how I knit. You know, I'm terrible at ripping back, and so I'm just forward. So I kept going, and it kind of corrected itself, and I'm going along, and then I noticed that other little mistakes started happening, and I just really don't know why like I don't know if I was rushing through it or what, but so then when that happened, I was like, that's alright, I'll just wear that in the back. It's no big deal. It's really no big deal. Will I wear this hat? Most definitely. I think it's a fun color. It fits great. It's nice and warm. The Aran weight is beautiful. One thing I really love, I don't know if you've ever knit with Malabrigo twist, but it's not like super fuzzy. I didn't block this, by the way. I don't know, maybe I should have. But it actually has kind of a almost a cottony feel to it, but it's not cotton, it's wool. But it's super soft, so it's definitely merino. And yeah, so the pattern went pretty well. I felt like I probably should have done one more repeat. Said if you wanted a slouchier hat, to do one more repeat of the cabling. And I was kind of done because mistakes were made, and I was kind of like over it. So I just forged on and finished it. However, the only thing I don't like about this particular pattern is the instructions for closing the top of the hat. Yeah, I'm not sure. It was like knit 3 together, knit 3 together, purl 1, knit 3 together, knit 3 together, purl 1, and then the next row, there wasn't like a knit row like there normally would be. It was like, and then you just go and do it again, knit 3 together, knit 3 together, knit 3 together, or whatever, or purl 3 together, something like that. And so it's just kind of really holy. Because then you like pull the yarn through again and like cinch it closed, and then, you know, tie your end in and on the inside. And I don't know, I'm not big on that, but whatever. It was a good first try. I will definitely try another cable pattern in the future, and yeah, I think that's all I have to say about that hat. So this hat, I actually am entering in that hat cal. Why the heck not, right? Posted a picture in their thread for it, for my finished object, and we'll see what happens. So, remember when I talked to you last week about the shawl I had started called the Isabelita shawl by, oh shoot, I forgot to write that down. Well, I'll put it in the show notes. I frogged it. I wasn't happy with the yarn, and I wasn't happy with the colors, and I wasn't happy with the fabric the yarn was creating. I just wasn't happy. So, I'm going to try that shawl pattern again at some point with different yarn. Something more of a solid color, or even a semi-tonal color, 2 colors that are a little bit more light and dark, like more of a contrast, because the 2 colors that I had chosen for the shawl were just way too similar, and the patterning wasn't standing out like I wanted it to. So I scrapped it, tore it all out. I'm hoping that I don't lose the tags for the yarn, and you know, but I set them aside and I'll use them for something else hopefully soon, since they're all caked up. And then the other thing I had started was a hat called the Courtyard hat. And I'll insert a picture here, and I'll include show notes for this hat pattern. It's really cool, has some simple 1-stitch cabling kind of throughout, and with this really cool patterning. You do 2 colors, and so I had done like a teal, blue. It was a yarn that I had gotten from Fiberista Club. The company was Ba something or other, and it was their Shasta worsted weight. And then I had paired it with a Plucky Knitter Aran weight, actually. The 2 were similar in weights, but I believe that the teal was definitely it said worsted weight, but it pretty hefty. The Plucky Knitter that I had used, it was a dark blue color. I didn't write that down either, unfortunately, but it was the remainder of a skein I had used for something else. So, oh, my colorwork hat, with the sheep on it, I had used it for that. So there was quite a big amount of it left, and I thought maybe I would have enough, but I wasn't really sure. So anyway, I was working along on this hat, and I had gotten like that much of it done. And all of a sudden I had started noticing an issue with one of the cable sections. It was almost like I didn't have enough stitches on the needles to accommodate that last repeat. For some reason it was all wonky. Ripped it out. I was so frustrated with that, but it was like an afternoon's worth of work. I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal. Will I try to do that hat again in the future? Yes, I think I will. I don't know how soon, but I think I will, because it was kind of a cool hat. It wasn't really a slouchy hat. It was more of a toque, more of like a beanie. But anyway, frogged it. So that doesn't leave me with actually very many whips. I have some socks on the needles from long ago that I gave up on that I'm going to get back to because I just bought a book called Sock Architecture, and I'm looking forward to kind of looking into that so that I know like what to do next for the heel once I get to the heel. And another thing I need to get is a sock ruler. That would be very helpful because I'm kind of knitting along on the foot. These are toe-up socks, and I don't really know how long to go before I start the heel because I'm not a seasoned sock knitter. I want to be a sock knitter. I really want to, but I haven't had very many good experiences with sock knitting, so it is what it is. I actually have 2 socks on the needles. I had some socks that I was making for the fancy feet cal, and I only did 1 sock, and I had started the cuff on the second sock and I messed up on the lace pattern, so that's got to be redone. So I put those aside, and then I have an abandoned shawl test knit on the needles that I still need to rip out, and oh, that market bag I was doing with linen. Ugh, I don't like working with that linen yarn. It was no fun. So that leaves me with 1 whip that I'm working on. I am keeping this in a Jenna Rose bucket bag that I had gotten on Etsy. I love this bag. It's so great. See what I got in here. Oh, I can also talk a little bit about some new acquisitions. Let's do that first, and then I'll talk about the shawl. So for this pattern, I went online and ordered 2 balls of Sweet Georgia. This is the Cash Luxe Fine, which is this, I believe it's a merino cashmere blend fingering weight yarn. I got these 2 colors. This is raspberry, this is cayenne. They are so soft, and I really love the weight. They're a nice fingering weight, not too thin, and I kind of really like how they played together, so I decided to use them together. I initially thought I was going to use 1 of these, and I didn't know which one I wanted until I wanted to see them both in person. So I ordered both of them. By the way, I ordered these from yarn.com, so the webs. They're out of Northampton, Mass. I was going to pair them with like a light gray color. I have a skein of beautiful uncommon thread fingering weight yarn. It's gorgeous, but it seems really a lot beefier than this. So I didn't know how that would be to use together, and I still don't know if either of these are going to bleed when I wash them or block them. If you've worked with Sweet Georgia, these really nice saturated tones, and you know whether or not it will bleed in the blocking, please let me know in a comment. Although now I've started knitting, so there's really not too much I can do about it now. But the shawl is coming out fairly flat, so I may not even have to block it depending on the size, so we'll see. If I don't have to block it, I won't, I don't know. And I decided to pair these 2 with this speckled yarn. And this is from Hedgerow Yarns, and the colorway is called Treasure Chest. And it's just a beautiful kind of ivory base with lots of speckles. Like the whole... It's really nice though because it's not very heavy speckling, so you get a lot of the white too, but then there are sections of kind of speckles, and the speckles range from yellow, fuchsia, like magenta, kind of this kind of color, and a lot of the oranges, which kind of play off this color. And there's some blue in there too, and black. And I just thought the 3 of these together in a shawl pattern would be really fun. And if you follow me on Instagram, which you can follow me there if you want, my handle is Lorelei Erdo. I showed a picture of these when I had just made the decision on them. So I have started a shawl pattern. It's a test knit for Charlotte of the Charlotte and Gus podcast. And when she showed this shawl on her podcast, I just fell in love with it. It's gorgeous. It's just right up my alley. The shawl is kind of an asymmetrical triangle shawl, and it's got striping. So the one that she did a blue and white, which I love. In fact, I think I want to knit it again in those same colors, but I didn't want to do the test knit in the same colors that she had done. I was tempted, believe me, I was tempted because I loved it. But I wanted to choose something different, and that's why I went with these kind of, this color palette reminds me of fall, and fall is right around the corner, so I thought that it would be really great to do in these colors. So I have started the shawl. I'm not too far in at this point, but I thought I would just go ahead and show you my progress so that you can see how it's coming out and to get you excited about this shawl pattern. I believe my test knit has to be done by the end of September, so I believe this will be coming out in October. And it is really fun to knit. So isn't that great? Oh my gosh, I hope you can see. So the raspberry is going to be one end, and then I've started my striping, and it's got a nice eyelet center spine. I don't know what you would call that area there, but it's been really fun to knit this, and I'm loving how the colors are coming out. If you can see the little bit of speckling in there with the treasure chest hedgerow, and I decided to do the striping with the cayenne. Now I actually I plotted it out because I'm using 3 colors and the original pattern calls for 2. I kind of plotted it out as far as where I want my stripes to be and what color I want the stripes to be, because there are different size stripes throughout this shawl pattern. It's tentative. I'm not sure how it will play out because I may change my mind. I tend to do that, so as I'm knitting along, I'm thinking, you know, the next big wedge is going to be the treasure chest alone, and then after that, you never know. I may switch that up a little now that I have been thinking about it. It's going to be like the second half of the shawl might be different than what I had originally planned, so I'll just leave it at that. But the shawl pattern is called BendyArrow shawl, so keep your eyes peeled for that upcoming pattern because you are definitely going to want to knit this one. It's gorgeous and so fun, and I'm having a blast. And I'm just so thankful that Charlotte is letting me test knit it. This will be my first successful test knit that I've ever done, and I think it's really cool. If I have the time to do it, I definitely want to do more of these in the future. Absolutely. So I have some notes that I'm keeping in this cute little notebook I've got. Somebody sent. Oh, I've got the tags here for the yarn too, in case you want to see those. Sweet Georgia. This is for the raspberry. Sweet Georgia, cayenne. So these are 70% superwash merino, 20% cashmere, 10% nylon, 400 yards each. They're 115 gram balls. Gentle machine or hand wash, cold, lay flat to dry. Sweet Georgia Yarns is out of Canada, by the way. And then my Hedgerow Yarns is out of the UK. And here's her label. She wrote her details there in her handwriting. Merino wool sock, 100 grams, 100% superwash merino, 400 meters or 437 yards, speckled dyed, one of a kind. Cool. Hand wash, dry flat. And I don't know how I know it's treasure chest. I must have seen that somewhere. Or maybe on the listing when I ordered it, because I bought it on Etsy. So, I'm keeping kind of my notes and the pattern in this cute little notebook. Keeping track of my rows there. Oh, look at the little owl. So cute. Fun, fun, fun. Okay, so that's my work in progress. I'm going to be trying to pinpoint a color. I think I have one picked out because I want to do a cardigan. I am going to Rhinebeck, so I'm excited. I don't know if the next 2 months will be enough time to knit a cardigan, but I don't have too many other things going at the moment, so I figured why not start one. I would love to knit a sweater or a cardigan in either Madeline Tosh, of course, or Yarn on the House. Love that yarn so much. Beautiful colors. But that is not realistic financially for me. I can't imagine doing an extra large sweater, because I'm an extra large girl, using, you know, yarn that's $22 or more a skein. I just can't. However, now that I have experience knitting with Knitpicks yarn, I will have no problem buying a sweater's quantity. Literally, I would need about 12 or 13 balls just to be on the safe side for the cardigan I'm looking at, which is the Campside Cardi. Shannon of the Socksetera podcast has me completely inspired to knit this sweater, and now after I knit this shawl and I loved it so much, I figured that might be a good option. And it's a nice open cardigan. It's longer, which is a style that I really enjoy. I want a nice big cozy oversized sweater, so I'm looking at possibly the Knitpicks City Tweed DK. It calls for a DK weight. There's a color called, oh shoot, Rhubarb. I think it's Rhubarb. It's pink, because Shannon's knitting her sweater in pink and I like it. So I'm a copycat. I admit it. Sorry. I love it. I don't have anything that color. I think I would love wearing a pink sweater. And the DK Tweed is really nice. So we're talking, this is on sale right now for $3.50 a ball. It might be even less than that, $3.34 I think, a ball. And like I said, I would need, for what I need, it'd be like, with tax, maybe $55. Are you kidding? Like, that's amazing. So I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and order that and get started knitting that ASAP. Pretty excited. Never knit a sweater. If you follow me from the beginning, I've knit a vest, I knit a short sleeve thingamabob, kind of a cardigan, short sleeve cardigan. That was fun. But I've never done anything with long sleeves, so I figure it's probably time. I need to stop being scared, basically. So, anyway, that's on the docket for upcoming future project. We'll talk about sewing a little bit. I have gotten some new fabric that I thought I would show you. I was pretty excited. I have forgotten to write down one of the Etsy sellers that I ordered from, but I will put it in the show notes for you so you can check out her store. But I got a fat quarter bundle, and the title of this, I think, is, shoot, what's it called? Well, I'll put it in the down bar. I just love it. It's got really nice color. It's got a couple of different patterns, bunnies in 2 different colors, moths, Luna moths in 2 different colors, floral patterns. I love this gray with kind of a wingding, what are those called? Seedling type thing. I can't remember. Words are hard. Love it, love it, love it. I like fat quarters because I can use a variation of different ones, mushrooms, in those jewelry rolls that I have planned on making. I'm going to be possibly sewing later today, so I hope to have a couple more made because I have a show coming up next month in September, and I want to have a bunch of those jewelry rolls available for my sale. So fingers crossed I can make some more. This other shop I ordered from, I ordered these 3. And I ordered, actually, I believe, a yard of each of these. And it's called Indeed Fabric, and they're on Etsy. And I love that they gave me some just kind of little swatches. Enjoy these swatches from Cloud9's Yo Yogi Park collection. And they're just so cute. So that was kind of neat. Another thing she included in her package is this little card. It's on the back, it says Eco Enclose, and it says, "We care. Your order was mindfully packaged using eco-friendly materials in our ongoing effort to support sustainability. Earth-friendly packaging." Cool. Love that. So these are the ones I picked out. I picked this because I thought this would be great for a jewelry roll. You know, little travel inspired, little taxi cabs, pineapples, flowers. It says Bon Voyage, little sunglasses and palm trees. It's so cute. I thought that would be fun. That is actually, let me see who the maker of that is. Cotton and Steel. Of course. Cotton and Steel. I think it's one of their new patterns that just came out recently. And then I picked this kind of cool tree pattern. I love anything with these colors. This is First Light by Eloise Renouf for Cloud9. I love Cloud9. And then this one, oh my gosh, I am in love with this. Little woodland creatures, owls, foxes, raccoons, bunnies, squirrels. Oh my god. Could you die? And this is Dear Stella Design. Ray Ritchie for Dear Stella Design. There was actually another, it was on like a different background, but I love this light sagey green. I've already used this in a bag. Actually, this bag is still available in my store if you're interested. This is in my web store, lorelaiurdo.com. I made this large project bag, And I paired it with some of this cool tree pattern. This was a fat quarter from that fat quarter bundle I just showed you. It's got a nice little woven handle on it, and my little signature tag that says handmade by Lorelei. I used a brass zip on this, and the interior is a coral leaf pattern. It's got a nice box bottom. I lined it with really fleecy, heavyweight interfacing, so it's nice and squishy. And this is just a really great size. It's kind of narrow but deep. So lots of room for several skeins of yarn, or several balls of yarn, or cakes of yarn, whatever you want to call them. And yeah, so this is $35 in my web store if you're interested in checking that out. I had made a couple of other bags, smaller, one a little smaller than that one in a different fabric, and then two kind of coordinating, like notions bags, but those all sold already, so this is the last one left until I make another batch. But that was fun. Those are fun to make. So I just want to finish up talking about some podcasts I've been enjoying lately. I recently discovered the Mean Girls podcast with Rebecca and Stephanie. They are a sister pair out in Washington State, and they started podcasting maybe about a month ago, and they have 3 episodes up so far, and I've watched all 3, and I really enjoy watching them. They're not mean at all. Don't let that scare you. They are super nice. They've both been knitting for quite some time. And I love a lot of the things that they're talking about in their podcast, like how they have plans to knit all of the Stephen West shawls. They kind of took all of them and split them up between the 2 of them. They've already knit several. And that's kind of cool. They're also kind of coining the phrase jacked object, which I think is hilarious, or Joe, which, you know, that's my husband, Joe, but Joe would be a jacked object. So basically, for example, this is kind of a jacked object, well, because it's a finished object, but it's kind of jacked. It's got some jacked things. I thought that was hilarious. Another thing that they have started working on is they're not scrap yarn blanket type of people, and neither am I. So they've decided to use their minis for a scrappy sweater. And Rebecca has already started a cardigan, and it's amazing. She's using a lot of Tosh Merino Light leftovers that she has in her stash. And they are so fun, and it's going to be a really stripy, crazy sweater, but she showed it on her podcast last episode, and it was amazing. Loved it. If you want to follow them on Instagram, I think they both have handles similar to Hey It's Stephanie and Hey It's Rebecca. I highly recommend following them there as well, and if you have time to watch a new podcast, definitely give them a try. You don't have too many to catch up on. Like I said, they only have 3 episodes so far, but super funny and very talented knitters, and I really enjoyed them. Another one I just recently discovered is a man in Australia. His name is Adrian, and his channel is called Alternit, and that's ALTERKNIT. He's got a couple of podcasts up and also some knitting tutorials, which I thought were really cool. He's super fun to listen to. I really love his accent, and I think he's really talented knitter. He's knitting some sweaters for his mom and his sister, which I think is adorable. Loved his channel. And also another one that I have been loving is Stringing It Together with Becky Sorensen. Becky's been doing podcasts for a while. She's, I believe, an opera singer, and she's currently moving to Germany with her significant other, and she's just really fun to watch. It looks like she's been podcasting for years and years. Really comfortable in front of a camera. Super talented. She just recently made the Madewell sweater by Joji Locatelli, and it turned out beautiful. I definitely want to knit that sweater. Definitely. But it's finger and weight, and I just want to knit all of the DK and worsted and Aran weight yarn right now, and bulky. I don't want to do too many things fingering weight. It just takes too long right now. I'm working on the shawl, and that's fingering weight, and that's enough right now. So just give me all of the bulky weight, all of it. So yeah, if you have time, check out her episodes. She has quite a few episodes under her wing at this point, but I recommend all of them. They're great. Yeah, so thanks for hanging out. Thank you to all returning and new viewers of my podcast. I hope you come back and check me out again. I've been recording episodes every couple of weeks. I feel like that's a good amount of time so that I have enough to show and talk about. And so I'm hoping to see y'all in a couple weeks. And if you want to follow me, my Etsy store is LorelaiUrdoJewelry.etsy.com. I have a website, LorelaiUrdo.com, where I sell jewelry and also my sewn bags. I have a blog that I have been sadly neglecting, but it's Lorelai1141.blogspot.com. I'm on Instagram and Ravelry as Lorelai Urdo. So, yay! Another podcast under my belt. Episode 25, check. Thanks for watching. Talk to you guys on the flip side.